call the council meeting to order. It's 5:31. Welcome, everybody. We'll do a roll call vote.
Okay, Ashfield,
Present.
Berniston,
Here.
Buckland, Charlemont, Colerain, Conway, Deerfield,
Here.
Irving,
Here.
Gill,
Here.
Greenfield, here, Holly,
Here.
Heath,
Here.
Leverett, Leiden, Monroe, sorry, Montague, New Salem, Northfield, Orange, Rowe, Shelburne,
Here.
Shutesbury, here, Sunderland,
Here.
Warwick, Wendell, Whately, here, our regionally elected representatives, Phil Pearlman,
Here.
Jay DeFugio,
Here.
and our newest regional planning board member, Emily Johnson. Here. There you go.
Hello.
Okay, so we are, let me just scroll. Come on. We have a quorum of 15 and 57.65% of the total weight of the membership of the council. So we're good.
There you go. Okay,
Here
great.
comes someone else.
Yep. Well, welcome, everybody. First, I want to welcome new members. Will Cosby is the Holly Select Board Chair. And Holly, thank you for joining us. And Hannah Davis, the new Community Development Administrator and Assistant Town Administrator in Whately. Welcome to you too. And Emily Johnson, we just welcomed as well, the appointee from the Franklin Regional Planning Board. She's a member at large from Deerfield. Welcome. Did we miss anybody? I think so, but.
Is that B that just came in?
Just came in.
Yeah.
Welcome from Northfield.
Nice to be here in person.
Good to see you. So we have to reorganize. So July is our annual meeting where we reorganize. We usually have a nominating committee to recommend a slate of officers, but time got away from us, and
Sorry.
and this did not occur. Apologies. So if it's okay with members, we'll reorganize by taking nominations from the floor. The roles to fill and current members in those roles are the chair is Trevor McDaniel from Deerfield, vice chair is Greg Smedeker from Gill, the clerk is Kevin Fox from Colerain. Council appointment to executive committee is Kevin Fox from Colerain, and council appointment to executive committee Roxanne Wendy-Gardner from Greenfield. So we could take, that slate is, I think, willing to serve again unless anyone else wants to make a nomination for any of those seats. Otherwise, we'll take a nomination for the slate.
I move that we nominate the slate as presented.
Second.
Any?
I'm gonna need some help, folks, because.
Oh,
I
that
have
was
this all highlighted.
Bob from Shelburne.
Okay.
And B from Northfield, second.
Nobody else would like to? Okay. So then, thank you all very much. We're happy to serve again another year for everybody. So let's see, we have a nomination. So we would do we need a roll call vote? Just a voice vote, I think.
Just a voice.
Just a voice, okay. All those in favor?
Here you've been first.
Yay. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Away we go.
Come on, nice to see you.
Oh,
We
Michelle.
want to adopt the minutes from our April 28th, 2022 meeting. This can also be a voice vote. Any, of a motion to appoint to approve the minutes? Someone. Thank you. Ashfield.
Second, Greenfield.
Second, Greenfield. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yay. Anybody opposed? Great. So let's see, so FY23 council meeting dates. So please update your calendars. The council will meet next on October 20th, when we'll begin to discuss the FY23 budget. And then again on January 26th, 2023, when we will vote on the budget proposal. although we typically meet on the third Thursdays, we'll meet later in January to accommodate those who wish to attend the Massachusetts Municipal Association's annual meeting. Fingers crossed it'll happen again this year. And the final FY '23 meeting date is April 23rd.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
What's that again?
Point of order.
Sure.
Are we meeting on a Sunday?
Help me. All right.
Because according to my little phone, the
Thank you for
23rd is on the
checking your
23rd.
I don't want to meet on a Sunday.
No, I'd rather not. We
That
have
was
enough
probably
meetings.
last year's date.
Which one was that? The October?
April
The April?
23.
Oh, okay, yep,
Oh, that was probably FY '23.
Third Thursday
Yep.
is the 20th.
the 20th, okay.
So, 20, thank you.
20.
The 20th, thank you
Thank you.
very much for checking your calendar.
I was happy to schedule it.
Yes, you're marking your calendar,
Yep,
thank
yeah,
you.
very much appreciate that. So we have some committee vacancies. We currently have openings on the Finance Committee and Personnel Committees, and really urge folks who may have not volunteered for a council committee to step forward. It's a good way to get to know more, more about the council and the operations of the FRCOG. So please, if anybody who's not here, we can nominate, maybe, to step up and serve in those committees. Please, we need the help to do that. And one bit of news I have for you is that Jane Pierce, Select Board member from Orange, is running for the regionally elected seat that Bill Perlman leaves open as when he retires this year. So I don't know of anybody else running for that position, but everybody's.
There have never, ever been two people.
Is that right? Great. Good. So I guess we'll move on with the executive committee update.
Okay. The executive committee also is, I can't remember our title, but we're,
The Economic Development District Governing Body.
there you go, Economic Development District Governing Board. And that's how we convened at our last meeting, and we were given a presentation on the new SEDS report, Community Economic Development, and we voted to accept it. I just want to recommend to anybody here that that report gives an extraordinary snapshot of the state of Franklin County from almost any aspect, primarily economic, but there's a tremendous amount of information in there, and I would suggest that you read it. And along with that, there are also a lot of suggestions of other organizations, in addition to ours, that are working with our community and where help for communities may be available. If you see me do it, just a little plug on that. We also had a report on the Economic Recovery and Resilience Plan, which takes in mitigation and recovery from any kind of disasters or any other disturbances to the towns. It's an economic, again, focus, but it plays in with all of the other work that we can do to try to restore ourselves after some kind of emergency happens. Another topic which we have been following for quite a few years now is the relicensing of the hydroelectrical operations on the Connecticut River, First Light and others. The application is in, we are reviewing it. There are some real weaknesses to it from the point of view of sustainability and the ecology of the area, and we have been putting in comments, etc. We have been asked to support the hiring of an attorney, or at least chipping in on the hiring of an attorney in partnership with 4 towns, so that we can look at the license application and rebut some of its comments and and push for some changes. And we voted to support that expenditure, and I think we'll hear more details on that later. We got a report on succession planning and restructuring, which you'll hear about more later. And we also got a report on the series of meetings that COG staff had with municipal officials, at a series of meetings talking about the COG's role and the after-action report after the pandemic. It was a Herculean effort, and we were trying to learn from it, both from the health standpoint, municipal standpoint, and so those series of meetings were part of that effort. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Let's see, we have executive director update.
Yep.
All right.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for meeting in person. It's lovely to see you all. But I do want to ask people's opinion about future meetings now that the legislation does allow us again to meet virtually. What is the pleasure of the group? In-person, virtual, hybrid?
Hybrid.
Hybrid?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we will set up future meetings for that. Wanted to give a shout out again to Representative Blay and Senator Hines for the Rural Schools Commission report. It's a really well-done report. Greg, did you have a chance to read it?
I haven't read all of them yet, no, thanks.
It does a remarkable job of really analyzing and documenting the challenges and struggles that rural and small schools are having, and how those problems are compounding issues for our school districts and our municipalities. Has a lot of really sound recommendations, clear recommendations. Please read it. You will also recognize slides created by the COG for the Rural Policy Advisory Commission that we flew through in January, that really shows declining population, declining student enrollment, how we are hitting our 2.5 threshold in rural Massachusetts. So please read that report, and we will be calling on you to advocate for implementation of those recommendations. The primary one is to increase funding to rural and small school districts by $60 million a year. So we will see how that goes. Next, I wanted to tell you that we finished the Franklin County Public Water and Wastewater System Study. This looked at all 18 public water systems and 15 public wastewater systems in Franklin County, and also evaluated village centers that do not have any public water or public wastewater but need it. And we will use that report to pursue funding for all of the systems in Franklin County, because I can happily announce that we are one of the few regional planning agencies in Massachusetts to receive a second phase of EDA funding for economic resiliency work. So one of our plans is to really spend a lot of that time writing grants for all of you and for the towns to really promote resiliency, including water and wastewater. Bill mentioned phase 2 of the COVID response after action review. That was 12 meetings with municipal officials across many disciplines and all communities in Franklin County. And What we heard and what I would like to ask you, if you agree with this, is that consensus reached is that the role for the COG in future regional large-scale emergencies is to do PPE and equipment management, to make sure that we have inventoried supply of PPE that is ready and available to municipalities when they need it, and to act as a single point of contact for single town emergencies that may need equipment or supplies, or for small sub-regional emergencies. That we should help to act as facilitator and organizer and expand and enhance the MAC, the Multi-Agency Coordination Center, as quickly as possible. That we should help with regional communications across all venues and all age groups, so that we are trying to talk the language of us all, no matter how old we are. And then that most towns believe that active response is not the role of COG, but it could be sometimes, like in the case of organizing vaccination clinics. Does that resonate with people? Okay. You'll hear from us a bit later and from the Finance Committee that we are going to ask for a bit of money to help with implementation of that, and specifically to get us onto a routine of exercises and trainings to enhance the Regional Emergency Planning Committee, and we'll talk about that a bit more. We received a non-point source pollution grant from DEP to do a dirt roads toolkit. This will be to come up with, do some pilot work on dirt and gravel road maintenance and how we can make our dirt and gravel roads more resilient. This will, if Leverett receives a STRAP grant, Leverett applied for a STRAP grant to do design and engineering on a particularly gruesome gravel road in Leverett. So it would be a nice compliment if they got that STRAP grant. We do, the COG does review all of the STRAP grants for EOHED, Executive Office of Housing and Economic Developments, and we had twice as many applications from Franklin County this year than in any previous year, and EOHED reported that Western Mass submitted fully 33% of the applications, which they credit to our municipal grant information sessions, and so we hope those were helpful. We have a lot of really good applications from Franklin County this year. What else? Northern Tier Passenger Rail, the first consultant report out was last week that really talked about conditions. The next meeting will be presenting alternatives for rail service along the Northern Tier. We'll keep you updated on that. That will be an important meeting for you to attend. And we have promoted Xander and Nick from our EPP program to be the program manager and planner of emergency preparedness, to replace Tracy Rogers, and kind of moved people around. So we are excited with that transition. Anything I missed that you have questions about?
Is there a date on the northern tier, Lee?
No.
No.
But I will let people know in advance before. Are any of you on the mailing list now from MassDOT
think I am.
that tells you? Okay. I can forward that invitation to you, but I'll also make sure everyone knows. I think it will be a while.
Another question, Bill. I'm wondering with the FRCOG licensing, we're moving into this legal review of the settlement. Does that mean that the closed door meetings are over, or are they still in progress, or do we have any indication? I haven't seen any public statement on that.
I don't think we know.
I don't think that we know, and the whole process has been a little bizarre. But we do know that we are on a list of people who get some reports out of this, and we want legal advice, and we need some money to hire some consultants to review and undoubtedly criticize some of the studies that First Light will be presenting. This license period is a lifetime, 30 to 50 years for this one, so we have to be really careful and about not letting them get away with less than we could have.
Thank you.
Just as a little personal note,
Yes?
with this water treatment thing, if anybody ever looks to Ashfield as an example of how to do wastewater treatment, please talk to me first.
Okay. Planning board update, Emily Johnson?
Yeah, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So a lot of the topics discussed at the planning board meetings have been covered already, so I won't re-cover them, but the set report, the FERC licensing, that kind of stuff has been covered. Folks are probably well aware of the required floodplain bylaw updates. I'm pretty sure most towns have done what they need to do. Peggy mentioned at our last executive board meeting for planning board that there might be a couple towns that still need that to be done. Basically, there are new minimum requirements of the National Flood Insurance Program, and the town must appoint a staff member as a floodplain administrator. That's kind of the sticking point. There are model floodplain bylaws that are available if towns need them, and I believe Peggy is the contact if folks do have questions about that. We've also had several presentations about forest planning. The Family Forest Carbon Pilot Program is one that the Nature Conservancy and the American Forest Foundation are spearheading, and it promotes climate-smart forestry practices for owners to annually receive $10 to $15 per acre for 20 years. So not much, but something. And there's another program that's currently geared towards municipal owners of forests, the Forest Climate Resilience Program. It's available to towns in the Mohawk Trail Woodlands Partnership region. And it is using a DCR cost share for a forest stewardship climate plan. And the Mohawk Trail Woodlands Partnership, I am also the FRCOG, the planning board representative for that program, that partnership. And so they are currently doing an update of their 10-year partnership plan. There are 2 upcoming virtual listening sessions for folks to share their feedback, one on August 24th at 4 p.m. and one on September 14th at 7 p.m.
What's the second date again?
The second date is September 14th at 7 p.m.
Thank you very much. Michelle, a finance committee update?
Yes. Preliminary FY22 year-end results show another very strong year. The Finance Committee met Tuesday evening to approve line-to-line transfers to balance out sections of the budget. The pooled expense budget for all staff benefits was a problem as a result of several long-term medical leaves and illnesses to care for others. This got overspent. Other areas of the budget were underspent, ending the year within budget as the bottom line. The town accounting program overspent by $14,201, and the Finance Committee approved use of retained earnings to cover it. All other municipal fee-for-service programs ended the year within budget.
Right?
I think there's any questions? I'll go on to FY23 topics.
Sure.
The Finance Committee discussed and recommends to the council an FY23 budget amendment to provide funding to implement recommendations from the After Action Report to continue to support the Comer's radio system implementation and to increase the capacity of the Regional Emergency Planning Committee. Linda, do you have more information on that?
Yeah, I talked already about the after-action review, but I would like to spend a few minutes talking about the Comers transition. I will say that when it was always my belief that once we transitioned to the Comers system, the state's interoperable communication system, that the COGS effort would be done. That is very, very, very far from the truth. Between the transition to Comers and making sure that the Franklin County Emergency Communications System keeps running as we need it to while we complete that transition and while the state completes their upgrading of Comers, it's about 20 hours a week of time that we did not expect or budget for. And we expect that that will continue at least for the next year or two. We know that we have to reprogram all 1,300 radios sometime this year, and that will not be a software upgrade. It will be physically handling all 1,300 radios and reprogramming them. As the state thinks about their digital expansion, they're looking at our sites, and we are doing a lot of work with them to see if our sites can help with that. That's ultimately good for us because if they want our sites, we don't have to pay for decommissioning of that site, but it's a lot of logistics work with the state. So we did not budget for this much time for Comers. We are hopeful that you will be willing to use undesignated fund balance so that we can continue to work on that project, and then we will build it adequately into the 24 budget once we get through this period.
We have a dollar amount on it?
We do.
Oh, great.
Michelle is about to tell you.
The request is for an increase to the personnel portion of the regional services budget for $30,000. Half of this proposal can be funded by transfer from another line item in the budget, and the other half by use of $15,000 of the general fund balance. So I'd like to move to increase the FY23 regional services personnel budget by $30,000 for the combined purposes of implementing the recommendations from the after-action report, continuing to support the Comers radio system implementation, and increasing the capacity of the Regional Emergency Planning Committee. To meet this expense, we'll transfer $15,000 from the Regional Services Consulting budget line and use $15,000 of the general fund balance.
Second. You moved. You moved it, right?
Yes.
Tom?
I think our last meeting, we had that was just after the fire and arms. I think that explained why the radios were important.
Amazing.
And I would think that it would be prudent for us to do that. And we're kind of working with the state on this, and probably everything wasn't worked out as well as it should have been in the beginning, but the radios are working, and I talked to our people in town, they all are much better off now than they were before.
Thank you for that. That's good to hear.
Just the reprogramming, is that something we'll do every year, or is that something we'll do just
No,
once?
it's
I know we
because
program
remember
this
that,
plan.
yeah, it's the analog digital switch, when the whole system goes digital is when we will have to reprogram. So it is, fingers crossed, it is not every year.
Right,
We have only been told it's once.
okay.
But
Some of the reprogramming can be done over the air. Turns out this one is large enough so that it can't. They have to actually have the units in hands, but future small alterations they can do without, as long as the radio's turned on, they'll get upgraded.
Thanks.
I was just going to throw in that 30,000 may seem like a lot, but the millions we would have spent if the state hadn't stepped in,
No doubt.
we're getting such a bargain that,
yeah, it's a remarkable thing. I totally agree.
Yes.
Like, that is what we say to EOTS all the time. We're like, we will help you in any way to make this a smooth project for you. We are very appreciative.
Yep. Any further discussion? Yes, what?
I'm new to this, but my understanding is that those new radios are not working very well in Hawley. Is any other town experiencing trouble with radio reception?
We know there are definitely dead spots. We are working with EOTS about how we can resolve those problems. If it is, what we've agreed to with EOTS is if it's the construction of a new tower, then they need to be involved and engaged. If it is just adding a repeater somewhere, then we can use our money to just enhance the signal. And so both Hawley and Irving will be explored in the next year to see how we improve service, and specifically in those areas. There's a little bit of area in New Salem we know about, but as the system continues to get upgraded by the state, hopefully those will get smaller and smaller. But Hawley and Irving are big enough that we know we have to do something more.
My suggestion would be that if your planning board gets an application for the construction of the tower, they should be in touch with the Comers committee to let them know that a new tower is being built somewhere. I know that it's happening in Ashfield, and if they utilize it, it will cover a huge portion of Ashfield that has no coverage at the moment. So keep the radio system up to date with any tower construction in your town.
And have your folks report to us where it's not working so that we can get as much information as we can.
To the best of my knowledge, we don't have a single tower
I think, yeah.
anywhere.
I think you guys rely mostly on Borden. And the problem is that you're kind of right down from Borden.
Yeah. I mean, as far as I understand, this radio system is not going to work in Hawley. I mean, they're going to have to put poles up throughout the entire town. And so we're a long way from being able to actually use this as a dependable emergency system. So, I mean, it's a lot of talk. We're talking 5 years, 10 years?
Oh no, it better not be, because the current Franklin County Emergency Communication System can't survive that long. So it's a priority for us to work and get these problems and dead spots resolved. Identify a solution this year and then start looking for money.
Okay.
All those in favor? Aye. Oh, do we need a roll call vote? This is financial.
Well, if everybody's in favor, we don't.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain?
I'm saying.
We have
And
one
an abstention, okay, and it passes.
Okay.
Okay. The Finance Committee also discussed and recommends to the council an FY23 budget amendment to hire legal counsel for this critical phase of the FERC relicensing process for the Northfield Mountain Pump Storage and the Turner's Falls hydroelectric projects.
Oh, you want more?
Yes.
Sorry. This, as Bill has said, and as Greg has also said, this is hiring legal counsel to review the settlement agreement. The settlement agreement will become the guiding document on the 30 to 50-year relicensing agreement. So we've been working on this for, I don't know, 5 years?
More.
8
8 years.
at least.
Now is the time. And so this is working with an attorney who is a specialist in this field. It is the same attorney that the Connecticut River Conservancy is using. And we have an arrangement with the attorney that if he is doing work for both of us, we will share that cost. We won't be both charged. And that he will keep careful track of that. We're asking for $20,000, and we've asked the towns of Gill, Montague, Northfield, and Irving to chip in $2,500 each, with the COG contributing $10,000. And so far, Gill, Montague, and Northfield have said yes, and Irving is poised to, I hear.
We're going to meeting August 1st.
Excellent.
Well, since Linda just did the explanation,
Sorry, Michelle.
I will move the motion for an increase in the FY23 general fund miscellaneous and contingency 01-010 budget by up to $20,000 to fund the legal counsel related to the First Light relicensing. To meet this expense, we'll use $10,000 of the general fund balance and $10,000 reimbursed by the towns of Montague, Gill, Northfield, and Irving.
Second.
Second from Ellen.
And that's all.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous. Thank you.
Mine done.
And you're done. Great. Okay. Moving on, we have a special presentation and discussion.
We're getting out here early tonight, people. We weren't exactly sure how the room was going to be set up to assure distancing, so we printed out the PowerPoint. It should be in your package. We do not have it up here. Oh, here, I've got it here. So, as you may have read in the council updates, the COG is going through a succession planning effort. This is a 4-part effort. We are financially preparing for retirements. We are doing succession planning. We're doing an organizational structure review. And we are working to develop a mission statement to guide all of these efforts. So very quickly, we've talked about this before. We started a salary reserve in FY20 in case the cost to rehire long-term positions is more expensive than we are accustomed to. We are doing a market rate analysis of salaries now. We've begun a longevity advancement through the grades that began in FY23. We presented that to you in January, and that's again to get budgets ready for anticipated increased salary costs when long-term people retire. We are creating a new performance tool, and we're doing a time study of our director level positions, which will be used to figure out how we finance our management structure in the future. In terms of succession fit planning, we've documented anticipated retirements. This has been done not by polling staff individually, but by typical retirement age. Our building inspection program tweaks that a little because our electrical and inspector and plumbing inspector are in advanced age. We also are grooming staff that are showing potential to assume leadership roles by holding leadership training, giving lots of information about how the COG was formed, how the COG functions, both in terms of policy and finances, and doing just overall agency-wide professional development. We have formed an organizational structure review committee, and that's mostly because our current organizational structure evolved out of necessity, not out of thought. And our organizational assessment that was done a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, in the height of COVID, it was done. suggested management structure review and change, and so does the after-action review. And we also want to develop a mission statement, in large part because we don't have one. And when you ask staff what the COG does, our answer generally is that we serve the towns of Franklin County, which our organizational assessment consultant said is very vague, too broad, and sometimes not broad enough to really reflect all that we do, and that we should work on developing a mission statement. The hope of that is that it will really guide the structure in the future. And I forgot to say happy birthday to the COG. July 1st was the 25th anniversary of the creation of the Franklin Regional Council of Governments. So all of this work is really to strengthen the future of the Council of Governments and the services we provide to all of you. So on page 4 is, oh no, I think I missed something. I did. A mission statement is what is being done, why it is being done, and who it serves. And on page 4 of your handout, you can see some good examples that we found. I am particularly fond of Cradles to Crayons.
Yeah.
Provides children from birth through age 12 living in homeless or low-income situations with the essential items they need to thrive at home, at school, and at play. So that really so concisely gives you the who, what, how, why in so few words. So, we held a staff retreat just on Tuesday, and I optimistically thought we would end the day with a mission statement. We didn't. That was really overambitious. It was a hot day, and we were very tired by the end of it. But we did come up with, we broke into 6 groups and came up with 6 mission statements that I'm hoping to review with you tonight, just to get your feedback and to see what resonates. So here, let me read them, and then you'll see that they are all together on the last page. I don't remember what group came, I don't remember the numbers of the group, so if any staff are watching, and if I say group 1 and you get mad, it was group 4, sorry. Group 1, the mission of the COG is to efficiently and collaboratively provide services, advocacy, and planning for the communities of Franklin County to create a healthy, vibrant, and equitable region now and in the future. Okay? Group 2, the COG provides services to build safe, equitable, and resilient communities by leveraging resources to educate, advocate, and enhance regional capacity. Number 3, the COG cultivates the vibrancy and resilience of our member communities and the region as a whole by collaborating to enhance capacity and promote equity through shared services and strategic planning. Number 4, COG collaborates and innovates to protect, coordinate, advocate, and plan for the people, businesses, municipalities, and environment of Franklin County and our region in order to shape healthy, equitable, sustainable, and vibrant communities. There's a lot of words in there. Number 5, the COG collaboratively creates conditions in Franklin County to foster a sustainable and equitable region so current and future generations can thrive. That committee would like you to know that that is only 19 words. Very, very proud of that. And finally, the mission of the COG is to promote and support a healthy, vibrant, and sustainable Franklin County, where current and future generations choose to not love to, but that's supposed to be live. Sorry, love is maybe nicer. Live, work, and play by collaborating, planning, and advocating, and leveraging resources for the benefit of our communities. So they are similar, but all different. And the last page is all of them together. And so I wonder if anything resonates, if there's anything you don't like, if you think it sounds like what the COG does or doesn't do. Because tonight we're going to finalize the mission statement, and maybe that's overambitious, but I don't think so, you guys. Sorry, just kidding. Go, Danny.
I am drawn to number 1 because it actually says how. And if you look at and you read this statement as somebody who's not in the know in this room, it's a little more clear what we actually do.
Yeah, I felt like number 1 was a
Yeah.
really concise, and it wasn't 19 words, but
Services, advocacy, and planning.
I did like number 5 as well. But
A lot of staff really want services in it because we really want to point out that the municipal service programs are a big part of what we do and should be represented in our mission statement. I'll let them know. Thanks, Danny.
On number 1, I would replace the word vibrant with sustainable.
I would add sustainable to vibrant. I think that what I liked about number 3 was that it used the word vibrant.
Here's the issue on that. People thought the words equity, sustainable, and resilient are a little buzzy right now. They're like kind of the hip phrases to use, and that if we want this to live a long time, we should be careful of not using currently buzzy words. Thoughts on that?
My impression is that it would be helpful if some of the buzzy words were better defined, and that adds more words to the project. But,
Okay, Tom?
we could make up,
Oh, hold on.
people could put meaning into those words that suits them, and may or may not be what the organization can provide or wants to provide.
Heather, which one did you say?
I just like the word vibrant because I think that so many of our communities have that special something that we're all trying to hold on to and build on. In addition to being sustainable and resilient, and, there's that extra, that extra. Yeah, let me say what? Exactly.
You know, I do like number 3, but it's funny, I had circled the equity. I didn't like that particular word, but I like it because when I read it, that first sentence says that each of our towns are different and that we bring our own things to the table, but together, when we come together, we work together, we end up with a better product. So I kind of like that.
That's what that group wanted to say. Thanks,
Whatever you said.
Go, Greg.
Whatever you said.
Yeah, I think they're all pretty good. I would just include the word help in all of these, to help create a healthy, because it's a relationship between towns and the FRCOG. If you say to create, it almost puts the responsibility on the FRCOG to do all this. So
Yeah.
I would put help in front of all of them.
Yeah, we
To
had a
help
lot-
foster
The
it, to
group
help-
I was in had a lot of discussion about that, of like, wait, man, we don't want to do it all. We can't do it all. We don't want to imply we're doing it all. Yeah.
How about rather than help, assist?
Or assist, yeah.
Assist, that's kind
Sure.
of like a
Say it helps, yeah.
little
Helps us.
little bit more sophisticated, but.
I liked the leveraging resources in number 2 as a way that's saying helping, because I feel like that really says it well, but that might be adding an extra word.
That's it. I have to believe that was you in your group, Claire, that the leveraging resources. Because that's like financially, that is a big thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You take a little bit of money and through grants and everything, you explode it multi times over.
Linda, I'd like the word advocacy.
You like advocacy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I see it in number 1 and number 6. Because I think that's what you have done in your capacity many times. Not to say that the other members haven't, but there's been a lot of times where you have.
I agree with you. And they, over the 25 years now, there's been an awful lot of advocacy done on our behalf, where most of our little towns can't do it.
Right.
And it really has helped immensely towards getting what we need.
Me,
I like all of them, they're great. I like the intent of all of them. It says a lot about the organization. I like number 1 because I think it, to somebody else's point, it talks about what is actually done. And I like Greg's point about to help create a healthy, I think, healthy and vibrant. In terms of equitable, maybe it makes sense to do something simpler at the end where you go now and in the future for all, right? If that's the intent, it would be simpler. And then you get away from the buzzy word. I'm not opposed to buzzy words. What I always encourage people to do is to explain what they mean by the buzzy words, because everybody has a slightly different interpretation, but yet everybody has the assumption that we all know what we're talking about when we don't. So I guess I would advocate for number 1 with a couple of wordsmithing changes.
thank you. Will, did you have your hand up?
No, sorry.
Okay. Stan, what do you think?
It was all order, and I'm okay.
Anything else?
I'm still going to advocate for sustainability. The rate we're going now, it's going to be an issue for several generations. We haven't made a dent in trying to keep climate going, and that's an important aspect of everything that we do. Like, my understanding is that in virtually every project that we take on now, we look at the impact of the project on the environment and sustainability. We need to preserve the resources that we have. And that is going to be an issue for generations.
Don't get too creative, don't be.
Yeah, I would second that, actually. The sustainability is the least It's like a lot of, like, sustainability in various ways, but.
Yeah, but it's not a short-term commitment.
Correct.
Perhaps add that with the healthy, vibrant, it's sustainable.
I would agree. It's just, I think these small towns are finding not just, collectively, it's get cut services because there's money in school. I mean, we're trying to keep our schools open. It's
Oh my gosh, you guys, number 1, I'm pretty sure that was my group. Thank you.
Is there a hint prize here or something?
I just was reading, I'm like, which one was mine? I'm like, oh, I think it was that one.
So what are we going to do with the word equitable? Because that's the buzzword.
I really liked what B said, is that maybe we add sustainable, get rid of equitable, and put now and in the future for all. I think that is a lovely, I think that's lovely.
second.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like number 1, I heard it.
With those modifications, yes.
What?
With those modifications,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you. This was awesome. I think we actually just did it. We actually did just go by.
So thank you for all the hard work ahead of time, laying this out. It's
wonderful.
I don't know what the income rate is.
no.
The words are vague enough, like services and advocacy, that they cover everything you do. And probably will do in the future. So in that respect, it's great because it's 3 words and it covers basically, to me, everything that we do.
I love the fact that collaborative.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then, let me challenge you one more time. One thing that we hope the mission statement would also do is kind of confine what we do. We aren't everything to all people and everything. We don't want to empire build. We do not want to be assumed that we do everything. And we hope the mission statement would, if we got the opportunity to pursue a grant to build a new variety of popcorn, would our mission statement say, yeah, that sounds like your mission? Like, you should not be devising a new variety of popcorn. That was what came to mind.
I think collaboratively is both an open feature and delimiting one for that very reason. I think you've got it.
Okay, good.
So didn't do DeKalb, Illinois any harm.
What?
Didn't do DeKalb, Illinois any harm.
Oh, they do Portland, so we should develop popcorn.
So, in my years, Linda knows that the town of Sunderland, we almost dropped out of the COG. But it was good for us, because at that point, the town of Sunderland didn't know what the COG did for us. So I would say maybe the one thing that I've noticed over way too many years is that the COG works best when a town comes, or a group of towns come to the COG with an idea, and then the COG gets us the information or helps us move it on, such as our South County EMS. I can't say enough about that. Such as Sunderland with our affordable housing for senior center, or for our senior citizens. Without the COG's help, that wouldn't have. So I think that to me is what the COG is to make regional endeavors and/or town get us over the hump. So you can say get us over the hump in there too.
But maybe a word to add in there is responsive, is that we should be responding to the needs of the towns. We shouldn't, I totally agree with you. The only things we've ever had to shut down and close down are things that we thought were a good idea.
I like the word response because it is, and again, it's asking us towns to go to the COG with what we need for help. And I kind of like that. And I think that's the essence of what the COG is for us at least.
Well, one suggestion, you could say, in response to the communities of Franklin County. You want to add that in. And I'm just looking at
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of the challenge we had throughout the day, thinking about this, was that any number of our programs are now much bigger than Franklin County, either geographically or in terms of membership or whatever. So it does become hard to sort of be able to describe that. It's these municipalities, but it's several of the programs are also like 4 western counties region-wide. So it is hard.
Although, and as I've said 100 times, the reason we've pursued those 4 county-wide fiduciary responsibilities is because we always thought Franklin County would get a better deal if the money was held by a Franklin County organization. And so that there's always been kind of like, there's been a logic behind it, but it's hard to remember sometimes. Michael, you had something?
I don't know whether this idea needs to be part of the mission statement, but as part of the process of getting to the mission statement, did you make a list of the things that the COG does not do? Doesn't provide a police department or fire department, not directly a highway department.
Yeah, we did do that. Yeah, we did. We spent the morning talking about what is the purpose of each of our programs and then did a bit of what do we do, and in the corner of what do we do, we added a little box of what do we not do? And
Jails, courts.
anymore. Thank you, this has been helpful.
Good.
In January, we'll have a quiz, and
When you do like a guessing game of who, which team member was on which. We did it. So I'll hand it
They'll come in with a crown.
I think everybody should be congratulated.
Yes, it's good work.
Yes.
Yes,
Good work.
it was wonderful work.
Any business not reasonably anticipated? Oh,
I have one more question about this process.
Okay.
Have you thought about distributing these ideas to the select board, planning board, to the town, to see what kind of response they offer?
on the mission statement, or I have not, but can. Yep. Thank you.
anything else on the topic or anything else?
Just one quick question on the FERC relicensing legal. So as somebody who's been involved in the process, it has its ups and downs.
From the beginning, we did.
Right, ebbs and flows of information. What are the next steps with respect to, or I can take it offline too, of the lawyer, the legal services, and the communities that are affected and
That's it.
reviewing?
I don't know,
Okay.
but I'll have Peggy give you a call, or we'll have Peggy talk to all of the towns with that question.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would just be good, because what I've noticed is there's just strings of time where something could be happening, but you don't necessarily know, and I know Peggy's always been a great resource in that respect. Thank you.
Yep.
With that, no other business, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Brian. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Just time to go to another.